We are Team 19, and my name is Yoon. We are super excited to be here today to introduce our project. We have been working on Tone Vision, a fitness application featuring audio-based workouts for people with visual impairments. This is our presentation. It's divided into 5 sections. First, I'm going to introduce our team member, which includes Diego, Joalita, and Alex, and myself. Next, these tools we used mainly for our project. And our project duration was total of 4 weeks. We needed and spent more time during research and defining phase because we had to learn and consider many things for making questions for survey and user interview. But we were on track after that. From this slide, Diego will continue the presentation.
Thank you, Yoon. We want to take this time to fill you in on our process to empathize with our end users. Initially, after receiving the prompt for this design challenge, the team discussed what kind of disability we should focus our attention on. And we arrived at this motivation of addressing visual impairment disabilities after an extensive review of internet articles that spoke to the vulnerability of this group, as well as the firsthand access we had to talk to people that experience this disability in our local communities. When it comes to people with a visual impairment disabilities, the numbers are staggering. We discovered that more than 12 million people over the age of 40 are experiencing some form of visual impairment, with over 1 million of them completely blind, according to the CDC. And this number is projected to increase as the population in the United States continues to age. Vision disability is one of the top 10 disabilities among adults in this country, and with that comes an unmeasurable impact. People with this disability are less likely to be physically active and are at a greater risk than others of developing chronic ailments such as diabetes and heart disease. There's also an emotional component to the burden and barriers that they face, from a lack of motivation, a fear of ridicule and embarrassment, to anxiety and depression. And in addition, there is a financial impact. People with visual impairments experience problems in accessing healthcare and medical insurance. And if you've gone to the gym, you know that it's expensive for anyone, let alone someone who can't see, to afford a physical trainer to assist them in every step of their fitness journey. Taking these issues into account, we imagined how, next slide. We imagined how might we make fitness and exercise programs accessible for people with visual impairments so that they can take ownership of their physical and emotional well-being and feel good about themselves. Internet articles, as I mentioned earlier, were the starting point of a research phase that was complemented by an online survey, remote user interviews, and a competitive analysis of top mobile apps used by people with this disability. We had 9 survey respondents located in North America and between the ages of 18 and 57, who were recruited from our personal network, Slack community for web accessibility standards, and Facebook groups for people with disabilities on a fitness journey. Out of those 9 folks, 4 identified themselves as people with a visual impairment, and their insights reveal that they have very little physical engagement, only once a week if anything, and mostly walking. They can't seem to motivate themselves to work out, but they know they do want to improve their physical and mental health. They enjoy working out in the comfort of their own home or outdoors if possible. They feel confident about feeling self-sufficient and exercise on their own, but they hardly ever discuss their physical well-being with a healthcare professional. Next slide. We conducted 4 user interviews remotely, 2 with people who are blind, 1 with someone experiencing autism and ADHD, and another with a caretaker of someone with a disability. But obviously, we focused our attention on those who are experiencing blindness, and we understood that they follow a regular routine that includes some office work and a minimum quota of physical activity. They feel mental distress when they walk down the street or when they step into a space where no one's around. And as the survey showcased, they do want to take ownership of their mental health and physical health so that they can continue to be self-reliant and independent. For our competitive analysis, we looked at 3 major applications used by people with this disability and their functionality: adaptive audio fitness, revision, and Fitbit. All feature personalized programs that allow audio-based exercises and provide subscription tiers, as well as upgrade incentives to their users. Only Fitbit, though, is able to work with smart home devices and has accumulated a trustable, somewhat reputation amongst its consumers. After completing our primary research, we moved to the second phase, which was to conceptualize the project and synthesize our data and insights. The amount of data, as you see on the screen, that we gathered from especially our user interviews was overwhelming, so we had to narrow down their main pain points as well as their wants and needs. They are conscious of their body and their health, and therefore they understand that it's up to them to make sure that they are in tip-top shape to eat well and prevent health problems. On the flip side, though, they are less likely to be motivated due to adverse weather conditions, and because of society's view of them as people who are quote unquote incomplete. To reach their goals of feeling stronger and fit, they feel that it's important to track their progress and ultimately perhaps earn a reward for their effort. They are aware of the physical health that also comes with the mental one, so much so that they are connected with their spirituality in some form of manner. Another thing that impacts their journey is the accessibility they enjoy while interacting with their mobile devices and the lack thereof whenever they go to the gym. And because they're living in a world that they cannot see, they're more aware than anyone of the importance of safety in their daily activity, whether they use machines like treadmills or just a regular walking session. Given those insights, we distilled them into our ideal user, a 34-year-old psychologist from San Francisco named Rob Smith, who, despite his blindness, wants to exercise regularly and is experiencing frustrations such as pricey fitness apps and gym trainers, the lack of accessibility to exercise machines, and nervousness over new environments.
So after that, we started ideating our designs. So here we created a feature roadmap to visualize a high-level product design goals, and also which acted like a guided document to execute our strategy. So after conducting like the competitive analysis and the research, here we listed out the features, what we are going to include in our app tone vision. And this feature roadmap really helped us like to prioritize the features and also categorize the content, how we need to place it in our app. So here later, based on the gathering all the features, what we are trying to include in our app, we created a sitemap to identify the gaps in the app's content and also in the functionality. So here we do have like different pages listed out here, how we are aligning the features in the each and every page. So this is like our simple navigation, which we are including at the bottom of the page. Where do we have like explore, learn, community, and settings option. So here we have a task flow, which is like a sequence of steps included where user can access in the app just like for navigation. So we included like a simple task where the user can search and play a cardio exercise. And these are the steps what we included in our task flow. Initially, the user opens a fitness app and browse the categories, and later he click on the cardio button and select the exercise and just starts playing the exercise. So once we are done with the task flow, it really helped us like to find out what are the frustrations the user is facing here, just to improve our user interface and also user experience of the user. So here we created a user flow to visualize how user uses the app exactly. So based on that, we created a sequence of steps like how user browses the app, installs, sign in, and also browse for the categories and select a cardio workout, and how he accesses the cardio workout exercise, and how he finally plays it and enjoys doing the exercise. So here the user flow really helped us to identify what are the frustrations the user is facing here and where the user feels stuck. So based on those points, we just try to improve the performance, like creating a better UI. So next slide. So coming to the design, initially we created a few sketches based on the task flow and the user for what we created in our ideation phase. So we do have like a bunch of screens, like initial onboarding screens, and also the home screen and the few pages where we just have the navigation icons, navigation screens here. And we do created like a wireframing here, the low fidelity wireframes. So as I explained in the sketches, we do have like a initial onboarding screen, sign-in screens, and also the navigation screens like how I specified. So coming to the design system here, mainly we are concentrating on app. What we are building like is for visual impaired people. So we just want to design the app which is like more accessible and easy for the visual impaired people to access. So we try to choose like a typography with a legible text where the user can really access it in an easy way. So we are mainly concentrating on the text, especially for the low vision people. And also coming to the contrast, we do prefer like a high contrast with a little hint of color. We are not typically focusing on the aesthetics because we just want the app to be like less content and more accessible and more easy to access for the users. So here are our UI designs. So coming to the screens, initially we do have like our tone vision, branding page, and later we do have like onboarding screens and the sign-in screen. And here we created like a bunch of screens, like a home screen, cardio, learn, community page. Here in our navigation, we do like only have like only few icons placed here, just to make the app more accessible for the users and just not to burden them with more content. So here in our pages, like we do have like a bunch of categories listed over in our UI screen. So based on the research, most of our users, they do concentrate like on physical wellness and also on the mental wellness. So just be broadly categorized into 3 different categories like cardio, meditation, and yoga. And also we do provide like a few other content here, like a learn, community, and also if you go through the learn page here, we do have like a bunch of things included, like a fitness tips and also food recipes here. So based on the insights what we have collected, most of the users, they just want something like a motivation, and also they just want to stay properly fit, so to keep in proper shape. So just based on those points, we just included like adding more fitness tips. And also in the insights we collected, there are like few users stating that they just want to feel the gym equipment. So for the people who are like comfortable doing like gym at indoors at their home place, we just want to provide like a few fitness tips where they can really go and access like how they can use the equipment, especially for the vision impaired people. And coming to the community page, we do have like a bunch of options like a chat, podcast, and stories. So chat here is like a voice enabled chat where users can chat. And also they can share their stories and also inspirations. And the podcast is like a thing where they can hear like more stories out here just for the motivation. And coming to the coming to the settings page, we do have like a goals. Most of the users, they just want to set up goals and personify the thing. And also the rewards is like a, they just most of the users from the research, they are just expecting to have an instant feedback. And we just want to provide a rewards feature here, just like doing like a badges or something to the users once they accomplish a task or something. Next, please. So this is our workout screen flow. So when the user selects the cardio workout, initially they just select like one workout. And here the next screen is like an audio workout. Most of the users here are visually impaired people, can be like with the low vision and completely blindness as well, mediating in that range. So we just don't want the users to rely on the visual clues and just to perform activities just by listening carefully to the instructions. So we are mainly concentrating on the audio workout that really help out the people here. So once they complete the exercise, they do have like a screen where they can share their experience, how they have uh, gone through the entire process, which will really help us, like once we receive the feedback or something, to improve the user experience and UI. And these are the watch screens. Here we are providing like an integration with the fitness tracker or the fit watch. So the user can also track the progress and also access it from their watches. And here's a prototype. So these are the onboarding screens. The one interesting feature we included here is a skip option where the user can skip if they just don't want to go through all these screens. They can directly go and just explore the features here, which are on the home page. So we do have list of categories here and also the trending workouts on the page. And this is the learn page. So here where user can access like more fitness tips and food recipes. And this is a community page. It's like a social feature where users can communicate with the other users. And this is a settings page. So one interesting feature in the app here is like a voice enabled search, which really helps the visual impaired people just to search directly without just facing burden, like pressing the content and just look up for the things. Next slide.
Just to conclude our presentation, we just want to briefly talk about our next steps for this project, as well as reflections and things that we could have done differently or what we learned. We feel that it's vital for to test this prototype with people experiencing different types of visual impairments, and that comes with a carefully made plan, taking into consideration screen reading software that can make this experience pleasurable and with less or little friction to accomplish tasks such as onboarding, navigation, and activating exercise. And this would also be a great opportunity to learn more about their specific needs and points for improvement that can be included in following iterations. As far as reflections, there are so many things that we learned. Fortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, two of our original team members had left the challenge at pivotal stages. So it came down to the organization and dedication of our remaining teammates to fulfill expectations from our mentor and submit our work in a severe time crunch. Because of that time constraints, we dealt with difficulties accruing more data from our user base. And this is also a great reminder that every kind of project requires good preparation to tackle research methodologies that can help us achieve our goals. And finally, we do have to admit that no one of us can attest to the experience of living with a visual impairment. And we believe that inclusivity is felt and implemented not just through designing for all, but actually having folks from underrepresented communities, like people with visual impairments, to chime in on their journey and provide insights that will benefit those living with that disability. Thank you so much to IterateUX and our mentor, Amy Ogg, and we hope that you have enjoyed our presentation. Thank you. I think you're muted, Patna.
Oh, so sorry. So thank you so much, Team 19. It was really very good presentation and like few pointers that like voice features and things like that, which is very good. I will hand over it to Pauline and feel free to share your feedback on their presentation and the project.
Okay, great presentation. And also not only for the visual part of it, the way you explain it and the way you talk about it, present it is very, very good. Very confident and also very clear on the point. I always think about like people like to present all the content on the presentation deck. Sometimes you don't need to do that. I think Diego, one of your screen, most of the content you talk about it, but the point is on the screen, on the slides instead. I think that is a great point. Not every single content should be on the screen, so people read it. It's distracting, but for you to have the point there and then you talk about the content, that's great. Another director and soon also your presentation is great in a way that is detailed, is compassion, and the way you talk about the work itself, the process itself is really good. So there's a few questions I want to ask before I got some more feedback. Is in the general survey, when you do the survey, you say you have like how many numbers of people or age, that's great. But at the same time, what is the percentage of the result of the data you collect? Because the way you present it is more like, for me, it's more like an interview than a survey to collect the number you needed to support your problem or your idea. I think that will be better to have some numbers to support your the insight or feature or whatever, but I didn't see it there. It's great to know that, but at the same time, I feel that this is more into the interview part, like the insight, instead of the data you collect from a survey. And also for the user interviews, I would like to know who do you interview, because in here, I didn't know who that is. Are they just people, or do they have impaired, any hearing impaired, or is it also only visual impaired or whatever, or just general public? Because I want to know the opinion of that, the insight of that is what kind of people, what's the age group, how active they are in the exercise. Something like that, that would be good to know. That is for the user interview. And then about the task flow, I really like the task flow because you very good to like step by step. And also I like it because you have a scenario. You're not just talking to me as in, oh, there's the task. I did that task. Oh, there's the exercise. But instead you have a scenario. There is the how much time is it? What is the person going to go through with this task? That is good. I will be and then I saw the user flow chart. For that, it's a little bit confusing because it's so long, I cannot see the detail. And part of it, I think, is overlap with your task flow, I think. Is it, there's part of the task flow there also. So it may be good to maybe show the user flow chart, just a glance of it, and then go into an onboarding task flow, and then the scenario task flow. And then just like you have a big picture, now you focus into the onboarding, and then you have the task flow. Something like this, it will be much clearer on what they can do. And for the design system, I didn't see you have the color system there. Like I know you use the black or the Do you have it there?
Yeah, actually, I think that was like missed here, but we do have it like the color palette, like the primary colors and the secondary colors, which we are used in the palette. And yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
because I thought I missed it somehow, but
Sorry about
no, that's fine. I'm just saying for design system, especially some of you may want to go into maybe UI work, design system, you want to, sometimes you don't need to a complete set, but there's some basic you have to have, like the color system, the typography, some components, like the components library, something like that. It'll be great to have. Missing the color system, I'm not saying you missing it. I know you have it because I see that you go through the mock-up and everything you have. I can see that you have a color system there, but it'd be good to show in the presentation deck. And also the typography, I think you put it, first of all, it's a little bit too small to see it, but I know it's not because of how small you put it in. I think it's because of we are using Zoom sometimes when we do the presentation, some of the font is reasonably viewed in your screen, but when you go into online or Zoom or whatever tool you're using, sometimes it becomes really small. So to be that, I usually go for the presentation. If we have space, make it as big as possible, especially something like typography. You want to show the difference between each one, the headings, subheadings, and the paragraph. It would be great to have it a little bit more visible. Or what we sometimes do is not only put the number or the style or the weight there, but also get it like a pattern. Like that is the headings, subheadings, the paragraph, and then we noted what kind of style it is or what kind of size it is. And then I have a question with the some of the pages, like the category you have. Sorry, the post you have for the category page or so. There's a lot of like posts over there. It's great to see there is all, when you click on it or roll over it, it can be voice over for the topic. Can the users choose that category, or is everything you're going to have the most recent one come up? Can they choose it? Like what kind of indoor, outdoor, or is it cardio rest, like some kind of exercise they're more focused on? Can they choose it, or is everything there? They can choose it through the post itself instead of the category.
So it's mainly based on the list what we have prepared. Here the workouts are like tailored workouts, especially for the vision impaired people. So we do like have like bunch of exercises which are chosen only to be done for the vision impaired people. So we are not specifically targeting like an indoor, outdoor or something like that. So it's like a bunch of exercises, whatever we listed out, just a tailored category, just to meet the needs of vision impaired people.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just wondering if there is like some people may have their own target of doing certain exercise. It would be great to just have the post, like when you go into the onboarding, what kind of exercise if they want, and then choose that category. So when they have the list come out, they already choose the things they want to do instead of go through all the list you chosen for them. There's a lot, because I think the chosen one will be a lot already. They may not want to go through all the list, listen to all the things, but instead something they already chosen. So that is another option. Another thing is, do you go through the accessibility guideline, like the WCAG kind of guideline for the accessibility? The AA, AAA for the guideline for accessibility. I think that especially when you work with accessibility project, go through, I know it's a little bit complicated for that. I hate reading through the whole thing, but at the same time, it's very, very useful. So if you have time, take a look at some guideline with like the WCAG. which is the accessibility guideline. There is the double A guideline, which is for normal website and mobile application. And then there's the triple one. And the triple one is more focused on the users who have the accessibility problem. So take a look at it when you have time. And I like your reflection, you know what you're missing. And then I think there is more to go from here. I think the next thing you need to do is testing, finding people, the users who have that problem, and see if this is what they find the solution going to be. I think that's it for my time. So yeah. I hope that helps.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Paul. And that's really great to hear all these things. So just because of the tight deadlines, we are able to make it because we have like few team members missing in our team. So anyways, we finally rushed it until here. So yeah, we definitely work on that. And thank you so much for the insights. And we'll try to make it in the next iterations as soon as possible. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much, Paulina. I think that your whole information about adding accessibility to the case study would really enhance the portfolio. And yeah, you just gave a lot of really good points. So I hope that the team, you guys can utilize the points she made into your case study. And let's move on to the next team. So we have team 24. You can share your screen.
Yes, give me a sec. Yes.
Yep. I'll put 20 minutes on the clock. But you don't have to be precisely 20 minutes, but just to kind of give you an idea. That
Probably I'll need a little bit less, I think. So
okay.
It's fine. All right. Are you guys able to see? Give me a sec.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
All right. Okay. Hey guys. So this is our presentation. So this is work and play and our UX case study. So our team members consisted of me and Desiree Kaiser, To Ted Arthur, Shi Cheng, and Shui Lamin Ai. And so what is our project? So I'm going to give you, I know it lists a lot of text, so that's why I added 2 pictures. I need to be a little bit more precise, but okay, let's move on with this. So let me give you a little bit of project overview. We focus on understanding productivity problems of people who work from home, and they have access to loads of productivity applications such as Trello or Notion or Task To Do and Todoist, many kind of task list applications. But the problem was that they are not tailored or tuned into their specific needs. So it can lead to decreased productivity, feelings of overwhelm, and lack of motivation. And so we kind of address those problems and try to integrate concepts like gamification, gamification concepts like story, progress, and reward, as well as automation and simplification. And then we try to make it more engaging and then motivating and user-friendly, and ultimately helping individuals stay more productive while working from home. So moving on. So the main problem statement was to design an app that help users create a plan. So one of the things that I want to address here is calm technology, as in what she addresses in her book, Amber Case, is that attention is the most important resource right now. So we wanted to, make applications that doesn't require that much of attention. So we wanted to use multiple concepts from the problem statement, like implementing gamification and motivational interaction, but also use much more in a calm way, because getting notifications is annoying and it doesn't help you to go through your workflow. It constantly annoys you and that takes your attention away, and these kind of stuff. So narrowing down, how we narrowed down when we designed our screening survey was that we got annoyed, people get annoying notifications, they get overwhelming tasks, and it requires too much involving for task listing, and it was not interactive enough, and it was not syncing through devices. And we designed the questionnaires to ask these we narrowed down to these questions, and we asked like name and email, age group, are they working from home or not? Because we kind of narrowed down like, okay, only people from working from home, because we didn't want to focus on everyone, because that's really not possible to work for. So we only focused on work from home, because now after the pandemic, loads of people are either working from home or working in office. So there are two types of people. Not everyone is working from home. So yeah, so we kind of narrowed down our participants that way. And then we do they use task management and productivity applications, and then what kind of problems do they face? And those are the assumed reasons. There are loads of other reasons that we have got as well. So moving on to the graph. So we had 27 participants in our survey, and we kind of picked only 6 to interview because there's loads of information. And from the survey, we kind of received that 70% of the participants said that they have a problem in finding work-life balance in their life while they work, because they work from home. They can't, and there's a problem with separation of space, as in like when you're working from home. I myself has experienced that as well, because like your workspace and your home space is the same. As you don't have a mental separation, it's really difficult to work as well as do your household work. It's everything gets mixed. And so we kind of try to understand that, like, okay, how do you manage that? If you're not struggling, then okay, how do you manage that? And if you are, what are the issues that you're facing? And we identified that out of the 6 participants, or like not 6 participants, sorry, out of the 27 participants, like 50% of them only use productivity or task management applications. Okay, moving on. So we kind of created a consent form as well. So, and we created, this is just a survey guide. I know there's a lot of text as well. Sorry about that. But the main point is that we first approached the participant, okay, this is this, and we made sure that they know what are the terms and they sign the consent form. And then we asked some warm-up questions, and these interview questions are just the surface level and the basic questions, but we tried to dig deeper into understanding what were the how they what their work style or work lifestyle or daily lifestyle was, and from morning to night, how do they work, what are their schedules and everything, how do they prioritize tasks, and do they have a family, and if they had family, do they find time for their family, or are they struggling, how are they struggling, and if they try productivity applications, like, and they identified issues, we try to understand a little bit deeper. And yeah, after that we kind of dig into this is just open-ended. We try to ask more questions based on, like, okay, what kind of conversation it goes. And after that we there were loads of information, but I kind of tried to make it as simple as possible, because the affinity diagram was, we tried like, 3 or 4 iterations of this, but kind of narrow it down to this only. So, the problems of finding balance, work-life balance, is the main problem is that the having a single space for work is a problem. And we kind of, the assumption, the hypothesis that we had was confirmed through the interviews as well. Like we figured, okay, like, all right, am I here? Am I, hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Continue.
Okay, somehow, my mic was stopped. I don't know why I can't change this. Okay, give me a
Oh, your
second, please.
presentation.
Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. A second. I don't know, somehow I have to, give me a second. A second, please. Somehow it stopped. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I'm back. So, yeah, our hypothesis was confirmed, and having a single space, and they are unable to organize everything. They're getting overwhelmed and burned out, and they don't have family time. And some of them said that they don't find human connection to work from home, because they're not seeing their colleagues physically, and they're not interacting with them. So they're not, connecting with them. That's one of the problems they mentioned. And, problems with productivity applications is that, like, not specifically suited to their needs and requires too much manual input and tracking. Notifications are annoying and disruptive, and getting overwhelmed with tasks and amount of information, and not enough positive motivation if deadline is missed. And, they're not syncing through devices, not syncing with project management applications. And motivation can be subjective, because when it came to gamification, we asked the questions that, like, do you play games, or do you love to play games? And then if they said no, what interactions they love, like, do they love watching movies, or, what kind of things do they enjoy and find it interactive? That kind of questions we asked. And we asked, like, what are the theories about, like, motivations as rewards, as in, like, okay, if they receive virtual rewards, is that good enough for them to keep on working? So yeah, and that was really subjective, because for all people, they're not engaged with games, and that's why they don't feel the connection with virtual motivation, virtual rewards. So that was a bit of a problem. And clean and simple UI can be a really good motivator, like I said about not distracting things by from the concept of count technology. And time bound doesn't work for everybody, as in, like, many of the applications are based on Pomodoro technique, and timers and dates. Maybe personal task management, not always that it helps that you create time bound specific things. It's really important that we can find a balance by people, like, okay, this works for people, or this doesn't. And then okay, so this is really interesting, because here after that we kind of did competitive analysis. Previously we did competitive analysis, but we kind of gathered the information and put it in a spectrum, because we found that there are things with active and passive engagement. This is just the two, it's a spectrum. From the horizontal line, is the left is active engagement, and the right is passive engagement. And then non-gamified and gamified things, as in gamified, as in they have rewarding structure, rewarding system, or progress structure. You can see what you're doing. And active engagement, as in, like, you have to actively engage with it. And it's not always distracting you, and these kind of things. But what we figured is that, in case of these applications on the screen, so some of them are, most of them are, require a lot of active engagement. As in, you have to be actively engaging or with it. You can't, automate the task and applications, and or even automation requires a lot of mental input. And then, if it's gamified, okay, some of them are gamified and some of them are not. So in case of Habitica, Flora, they're highly gamified, but Habitica specifically has a UI that is very attractive to gamers, but not specifically attractive to non-gamers. And then Flora and TickTick are definitely more suited to regular users as well, but still they require a lot of active engagement. And in case of Todoist, they people can feel overwhelmed because of the amount of engagement it requires. And compared to Rescue Time was completely different, because Rescue Time had a lot of just graphs and screen time recordings and everything. And it gave information on what you did and didn't do. And it's passively, just sits behind its back, but doesn't require an active engagement. But it's also not actually tracking your task specifically. It's actually just sitting behind your back and just monitoring you, and you can self-monitor and self-evaluate, that kind of stuff. And so we kind of figured, okay, it has to have a middle ground, and it has to have a middle ground because automating a task with machine learning and creating an adaptable AI might solve the issue of requiring so much manual input. And then limiting task visibility and making simplistic UI with symbols might be a solution for not getting overwhelmed. And then storyline and progress to personalize the app even more can be a good way of keeping it fun. And adaptive and periodic notifications might be helpful, because instant notifications are constantly a problem. And then rewards have to be dynamic so that user might not feel stale. You can't give the user same reward, same character growth, or same type of virtual reward every now and then. And then in case of active and passive engagement, we felt like it's not specific. I can understand, but what we figured is that sometimes maybe you would require an active engagement for a little bit of time, but mostly not active engagement. But maybe much of the time it remains dormant, and passive engagement. And it gives periodic notifications and that kind of stuff. And we redefine the problem statement as in people who are working from home should be able to organize and track their task and workflow with ease and flexibility, with proper motivation, with as less engagement as possible. Okay, so this is just a mess, but I'll just explain a little bit. So what we kind of try to figure it out is that first, whenever the user comes back and gets into it, one of the problems we figured out is that that's a very specific problem. That's why I couldn't add, but that they don't find a positive motivation, because the app kind of reminds you everything, or shows that you missed something, but it didn't show you, tell you that you can do it. It's not humane enough. Humane and positive, doesn't give positive encouragement to you. So then what we are trying to accomplish is like, okay, whenever you open the app every day, you get a positive welcome message and personalized message. And then you can also connect other applications. If you like, just like Notion, you can add blocks to it, as in one of the things that we noticed is that if we build an app, another application, and they are constantly using company specific task management applications like Trello or Jira and ClickUp. These kind of applications these are work. These are specifically for work, and if you have to constantly juggle between these applications, definitely that's a lot of a lot of problems, and it takes your focus away. So what we try to think as that it will give a block and it will work as an API to show the interface of your work specific application that you use. It can't definitely read that, definitely that won't be possible, but it can at least show you what the work specific applications have for your tasks or project management structures. So, and then voice-based task listing and story-based interaction. And another thing we thought about is that if we can add rewards, as in like a business model, we can add, is that if we can reward them with interactive gameplays or demos for other applications that that are being built by the same company, to monetize the application, because that way, if they find it rewarding, like, okay, if I find that game after their loads of work every day, after their accomplishment, they can try out the game or something, or try out the content. Any kind of content can be used as a reward. And then I need to organize it a little bit more to come up with better visuals for this, but this is the overall idea. And then these are just basic wireframes that we did. And this is the place. Okay, so first, what you'll get is the positive message, which is not here. But the main wireframe is when you get to the home screen, you'll see like your personal story, and you can, this is the onboarding screen, like, okay, and your work story you can add, or it's going to show whatever app you have added. And then it will show like, okay, hi, I'm Tasky, when you're going to click on it. And what is, it's a weird name, right? Tell me how to organize your tasks, and I'll organize it for you. And then in case of your quest, as in this is going to show like a progress, and then doing laundry, washing dishes, completing this project or that project, and limiting this visual as in only the specific 3 limit tasks it's going to show us. Probably it's going to be a list, but definitely you can only see 3 tasks at a time. And if they want to, see the list, they just scroll into it and complete each other, and it's automatically going to organize the tasks for you. There is no manual engagement necessary. And specifically, we didn't define what's going to be next, definitely, but this is the thing. And when you go back, you're going to see like, okay, your personal story progress is 50%. So this is just the basic gamification ideas that we have implemented. But definitely, as we most of our teammates left on the 3rd week, so and after the 4th week, I kind of had to organize it alone. So we need to again probably start from scratch, but of course we're going to build a better case study with proper planning. And then, of course, we're going to complete the UI and add prototyping. And specifically, we're going to test with users and receive feedback. And then things that we learned from our project. So like the most mistakes that we did is that we didn't add gamification apps to the list of suggested applications in the screener survey. And definitely, we made a competitive analysis before the interview. And that was a problem because creating the spectrum wasn't easy. And we didn't ask their ways of solving problems that could help understand their solutions for improving productivity by prioritization. And we didn't ask more specific questions. And we needed to dig a little bit deeper than that. And then, like another mistake that I did is that I didn't create another specific presentation for, like I put all of these texts. That's definitely more a lot of distracting, I think. And the challenges that we had faced was like, it was really hard to work with a team remotely because of different time zones. And I think a lot of engagement is required to do that. and then overload of information is very hard to process. Like the previous team said so as well. Like this is just the presentation, Miro board that we have. The another Miro board that we have, I've shared it already. That was a mess, and a big mess, because it had all of the ideation, all of the information that we have collected so far. That was really hard to go through. And then a notification is more of a general problem, because it's not a very specific, like it's not specific to this situation only. So it's not that if we build a solution for this specific problem, we're not going to solve the problem for all notifications. So definitely we need to understand that as well. And limitations with, like, we can't extract tasks from other applications. Like I said, because it's not possible for privacy issues and there's too much data, and that kind of process, it's not really possible. So integrating and connecting, two applications and sharing their data might not be possible like that. So we can't only integrate another window to it. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you for listening. Thank you very much.
Okay, great. I'm gonna turn to Paulina to give her feedback. So go ahead.
Yeah, great job. Yeah, like I said, like the last teams, I just saying I may ask you some question and then I'll get some feedback. And I think the project quite interesting, since we did remote for a long time now. I think there is problem there, and we can solve it maybe through some new application, maybe not. But at the same time,
that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel that your overview is a little bit more like a little bit. It would be great to have like a bullet point instead of the whole big paragraph there, because I've been trying to read through it, because when there is a lot of text, I try to read through it instead of listening to what you want to say. But I think what I listen to is very interesting. So it may be good to have just a few points there and just talk through it. And that will be great.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And then there is one for the problem statement. The one you say there is the productivity design part of it. And you have a number 4 there. It's very distracted to, I'm just keep on thinking, is there a 1, 2, 3 out there? So
okay. Okay. Which one? Which page? Can you please tell me again?
Problem statement. The productivity design. There's a 4 there. What do you mean by that? Because for me, I think, is it a number 4 point, or there is 4, or is there something like there's 1, 2, 3 I'm been missing?
Okay. Let me check again. All right.
Maybe something you probably from others, but
there's a 4. Oh, okay. The problem was, like, it's a screenshot. It's a screenshot, and this is the 4th problem statement, and this is just the direct screenshot from IterateUX. I didn't write it, and that's why I couldn't edit it out. I should have modified it. Sorry about that. It's just a screenshot.
That's okay.
That's why.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, if you sometimes do screenshot things, you can. For me, for text only, I always type it through. Try not to use other people's text, not only because of is it legal, ethics, or whatever, but also because sometimes it may not fit in you totally with your project. So you need to do a little bit of customization or treat for your statement. So be careful with that, because I see some of the things there. But when you have something like a number, studying a number there as a presentation, always for me, I always look at like data, numbers, if I'm missing any point, all that. Just to, yeah. And then
yeah, sure. Please go ahead.
And then for the survey, you have several assumption there. So, which is fine. Usually for us, we try not to put assumption, but it's fine to put it there if you can validate it. So through the survey you did validate it, but
Yes,
in your
yes.
affinity lab instead. So it may be good to just saying that what is the assumption and then the insights and the things you come up with and validate the assumption you talk about instead of bury it in your affinity map, I think, because some of the assumption is not for me. I try not to use a lot of assumption unless every single one of them can be validated. And for the survey, sorry.
No, please go ahead.
Okay, for the survey guide script, and then you say the consent form and all that is usually unnecessary, because we know we need to sign the consent form, but at the same time, the content you have is the process of your interview process. It's not about the survey, first of all. Second, the interview process, including the interview question and all that, which for me is a little bit confusing. Is it the survey guide script? Or
yeah, exactly. It's a survey guide
script?
script. Yes. Yes, it's a survey guide script. It's just a script so that like our team had a guideline and a process to, some of them didn't ever take a user interview. So we kind of created that what are the steps should they take? It's just a script to follow and not be overwhelmed. Okay, what should I do now? And what should I do now? So that they don't get overwhelmed. We kind of, we thought like, okay, share that story as well, as it's incomplete. That's fine.
Okay, I think that in that case, you may need maybe change the title or take out the consent form, because it's a little bit confusing with title. As a UX designer, the content hierarchy is very important. Like, what is information architect? Is the very clear step of hierarchy of what is the head, what is the title, what is the subheading and the paragraph, which makes sense, and everything is not confusing people. So be careful with that. And then I like the idea of the competitive analysis in the chart to say all these different competitor positioning themselves. However, you don't need to talk so much about their involvement with the industry. I will be more interested in how you verify, like how you clarify with like passive and active way, and
yes.
gamification and no gamification. So I want to know what your application going to position in that chart. Who is your main direct competitor? Because there is 4 sessions. What is yours going to locate it? Instead of telling me about what the other position, when you put them on that location, I already know the competitor, what their positioning is. I want to know what you think your application going to position, in which way.
I would say like it should be on the middle, but it will shift paradigms. Like I said, that's why I didn't put it, because it needs sort of a visualization, as in sometimes it would require more active engagement, and sometimes it's gonna not require active engagement. So it's gonna act as if like sometimes it's on the left and sometimes it's on the right. So probably in the middle. And for gamification, I would say more on the top, because I would say like not gamified, we are still defining, okay, what should we call gamification, because gamification of these applications, because there are loads of concepts behind gamification. It's really hard to process this. So that's why, like, okay, taking some of the concepts of gamification and then putting them in there and then calling it, okay, this is the spectrum, it's really hard. So that's why I didn't put it. But yeah, you're right that I should have put that. You're right.
If you don't put it, that's fine. It's just that you know what is your positioning and talk about it instead of talking about the other things. And then I think one of the reasons you say that is there's sometimes like more passive and sometimes it's more active is because for me, I don't see any definite users. Who is your focus on? Who is your target audience? Like, who is the main persona? I'm not saying like when I look at the app right now, it's kind of like because you're thinking about all the people who work remotely, and then because for me, gamification, I did gamification for client before, and we have certain age group will be actively doing it, and then there is some age group will be as passive. So the way you're thinking there right now is sometimes it's because you are not focused on maybe certain group of people, which is mostly active or mostly passive. So you are designing a little bit more about for general public. It's okay to design it that way, but you have to focus on certain group of people who is more active in your application, who will be loving your application, that they will make it popular, so the general public will continue using it. Right. And also the and the other thing is not clear is the incentive. When you go into gamification, the first thing you need to think about is what do the users gain? What is the incentive for them to play the game? Because it's not just oh, I like to play games. Not only that, but because they can have something. I know you're saying something like, oh, they can have this company, other application for free or try it out for free or whatever. But you are also doing a lot of assumption here. You're assuming the company have other application or anything or something else. Sometimes gamification can be as simple as in when they achieve certain things, you just say, good job, or a badge or something as simple as that. You don't need to have anything monetary or something sometimes even useful, but you have to know who is the users to give the incentive they want.
Right.
And then just very quickly, I know the time is a little bit off now. Just two things. One is the user flow chart you have. I don't think it's a user flow chart. I feel like it's more like a user story than a user flow chart. So you're telling the user how to go through it.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah, that's why it doesn't have the user flow diagrams specifically, like choice diagrams, as in no diamond shapes or other shapes to identify the steps. Yeah. I kind of noticed that, and it's really messy.
That's okay, and you can just need to change it as user story. And I like the idea. I will more focus on the idea itself. Your idea is great. The personal, the work story, all that, it can make it a good user flow chart if you expand it. And the last thing is when you say about the what you learn or whatever, for me, what I did is I usually do secondary research first, collect all the information I can with the topic, with the problem. And then from there, I go to the primary research, which is interview, survey with the information I already have, so that I can ask the right question. Because sometimes, like you say, you miss some of the question from your survey because you go ahead right away, go and write out the interview question, survey question, and send it out and collect information. Sometimes you miss out some of the information you need. For example, if there is some of the competitor, what are they, if they, maybe a question is the survey, how many is using the competition right now? What kind of app they are using right now? But you didn't do the competitive research at the beginning, so you don't know that. So you miss out the opportunity. And it's very difficult to ask the same question, the same group of people a second time. So Try to think about collect enough information to ask the right question. Okay.
I kind of okay, great. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think you may already did that, but it's just it's not right or wrong. It's just my way of doing is for me is working a little bit easier and well. So just to let you know. And that's it for me.
Yeah, I agree with you. We kind of approached that, but the problem was that as we like you said, as I led the team, we kind of figured that that we did the competitive analysis and research papers, secondary research such as studying research papers and web articles. We did that first, but we were unable to narrow it down. We studied, but we weren't able to narrow it down that what we are going to ask or what we are, what our target user group was. So after we narrowed down, we had to, rephrase the questions in different ways. So that's why it kind of, juggled through a different process. But I think the main focus is that the more we work on this project, the more we learn. And that's why I don't want to, create different case studies after this. I just want to work through this like maybe 3 or 4 months or maybe longer even, because I think that way I can improve it a lot more and work on my research front. Because building application, one of the things that I believe is that we are in an age that products can be built out of, just with an AI right now using ChatGPT. But the problem is that we are not focusing on the problems or focusing on the pain points and issues of the user. And it's really hard right now to focus on what are their issues, because there's so much information available. There's not that it's that just they're not, it's already digitalized. It's not that, okay, they're doing it analog and we are digitalizing something. It's already using the digital space. So what are the problems? It's really hard to narrow it down a little bit. And then that's why I want to learn.
Yeah, I think you're right. So I think the next thing you need to do is narrow down who is your users. That will help you to narrow down a lot of like research and everything else.
Okay, thank you very, very much. And I agree with you with the presentation, because this was actually the case study. One of my unfortunately one of my uncles is in ICU, so I had to go back and forth in the hospital. So I wasn't really able to get all of the images. What I do is that instead of all these texts, like you said, my process is to add images and use as less text as possible. I wasn't able to present that because of all of the issues in here. Sorry about that. But hopefully next time I'll do it. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you to Team 24, and thank you to our mentor for great feedback. It's really even helpful to me to understand how to go about creating a case study and presenting a case study. So I might go back and re-listen to some of your comments and try to understand and like apply it to myself as well, for sure. Padma, do you have any comments or questions or?
So yes, first of all, thank you so much, Pauline. Like, it was very detailed feedback that you have provided, which will definitely help Sarif and others as well to understand like how they can work on any case study and how they can go ahead with like first choosing and prioritizing the users and then go ahead with the research and things like that, which is very important and really great feedback and the advices that you have provided. Thank you so much. And for Sarif, we would like to see your iterated case study for this project. We would really like to see that. So feel free to connect if you need any help for working on this project in future as well. And we really would like to see your project as we can see like you have potential to work on it, and you have done really very hard work on this particular project. So yeah, great job. Yeah. Nice.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Okay, so I guess we are good. Anyone has any question to for Pauline? She is here today. If you would like to ask any question, feel free to ask. And she's amazing, I say. Like seriously, great information.
Just to let
Feel
you
free.
know, I put my LinkedIn profile on the chat. So if you want to connect and ask question, I'm happy to help.
Yeah, thanks for dropping that in the chat.
Yeah, thank you, Pauline.
And Diego as well.
Hey everyone, on behalf of IterateUX, we'd like to thank you so much for watching this week's event. If you like the content, please leave a like and subscribe. We'll have events every Thursday at 5:30 Pacific Time. Join our Discord in the description to find out more.